Hi, I'm Justin Boyd,
I am Tristan Jones.
and we are the Watchers in the Basement. Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement, and welcome to Watchers Football, a podcast within a podcast. And a podcast is all about the pigskin. We are here today to give our review of week one of the NFL season. We've got a lot to talk about, Tristan. Let's start off right away. Game of the week, crazy finish. Two of the best teams in football putting on an absolute classic. We had the Bills rallying back from 15 points down in the final 5 minutes to win 41-40 over the Ravens. What are your thoughts on that game?
Ooh, buddy. Um, my first thought is that these two teams, the Bills and the Ravens, simultaneously look like the two best teams in the AFC, or at least, or maybe even the NFL,
Yeah.
while also looking like two teams that could go out in the second round at the same time. I think it's easy. I mean, we can start with the love. Both Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen played out of their minds.
Yeah.
This is not one of those games where we look back and say, "Man, the quarterbacks like, or the quarterback did it." Like we can only look and say, "Hey, these two quarterbacks looked astronomical." They both played, I would say, at least A games. Josh obviously played an A+ game. Um, I do have some theories about his game a little bit that I'll leave alone. But it was a phenomenal game, and one that on the Ravens side, I can say that it's an indictment on them that I never felt like that game was over, even with 4 minutes left,
Yeah.
because they tend to blow those games. I thought John Harbaugh got ultra conservative on that last drive, and obviously some of that is caused by the Derrick Henry fumble.
Yeah.
But I think the Ravens would have been better off had the Bills got that 2-point conversion that they missed, because it would have forced the Ravens to keep playing their game, keep going up tempo, um, keep spreading the ball around, being aggressive and trying to get first downs. And they were up, so like that mindset of like, let's just get a couple first downs here and there and try to get it out, and ultimately that was their downfall. But on the other side, man, I don't even know how much I can say about the Bills themselves. Like, this was a Josh Allen game.
Yeah.
I thought he was excellent at controlling tempo. I thought they moved the ball pretty much at will on the Ravens, which I keep hearing has the best defense known to man in history, right? They're the DVOA champs. I thought he was phenomenal, man. Like that was a great game. I don't want to poo-poo anything, but like I keep seeing like the 294 yards in the fourth quarter. I mean, I do question how much of that was because Baltimore's defense just got a little bit softer.
Yeah.
They're playing 10 yards off guys, and every single play essentially was a pass play for the Bills. But that's really the only nitpick. Like, Josh Allen, he made it look pretty easy. Like, he was spraying the ball all over the field, making throws that only he, Mahomes, prime Aaron Rodgers, and Lamar on his best day are making consistently. And it was just a great game, man. Great way to start the year off.
Yeah, it really was. You talk about Josh Allen. He had 394 yards to the air. He had two passing touchdowns, two rushing touchdowns. Lamar was running around. Lamar had one play where he should have been sacked. He should have lost like 15 yards and he gained like 20 yards. That was just like that was like if you were playing Madden back in the day with Michael Vick and you could do that every play. That's what that looked like in real life. And then Derrick Henry, you talked about the fumble. Before the fumble, though, he was having like just an amazing game.
Yeah.
169 on the ground, two touchdowns. I mean, like, they were like video game kind of numbers from both teams. But one thing about this game that I thought that really kind of that kind of bothered me. I think it's also kind of what made it. When the Ravens kind of took control, I think the Bills really kind of messed up coaching wise because we talked about this last season. I still don't understand. So the Ravens go up 27-13, right? Two touchdowns. The Bills score, make it 27-19. Instead of kicking the extra point and being down by 7, they go for 2, which I just don't understand the strategy because they inevitably don't get it because it's tough to get a 2-point conversion. And then now you're down by 8. Now you're chasing points the rest of the game. And that was the result. I mean, luckily they pulled it off. And you can talk about the kick, the field goal right before the halftime, where I mean they were very fortunate to get that time back on the clock, which I think was actually a correct call when the player fell out of bounds. There was still time left on the clock. But I mean, that's not a call you get a lot on the at home or on the road. And I don't know, I just felt like strategy wise, they were just like they were chasing points the whole game. And it really to me, like once you do that, you're making it so difficult to win the game. And it's really the fact they won that game was the reason why it's honestly one of the better games I've seen in a long time and one of the most surprising endings because I don't think they deserve to win, honestly. So what do you think about the strategy with that the going for 2 when you're down by 14? I don't get it.
So this is where I confess that I've always been, not always been, but I've kind of come around to understanding that strategy. I think for me, and this is as a longtime Madden player, when you know you need a touchdown, you're eventually going to need a touchdown. I think it makes sense to try to go for it early, try to get those extra points early, and then so if you get it, you know what you have. If you don't get it, you know what you need to do the rest of the way.
Yeah.
I do understand the logic of take the points when it's there. At least take the easy points. For me, it's all situational. And I think a lot of it has to do with who you have as your quarterback. I think that plays a big role in, hey, can we score fast if need be? If we don't get this, can we score fast? If our defense gets a quick stop, do we have a quarterback who can get us downfield for a field goal or a touchdown in a minute 10 or less? I think that plays a huge role in those decisions. So I'm all for being aggressive, man. I maybe I'm spoiled by teams that I rooted for, but I'm all for being aggressive when need be and trying to get the point. If you can't get 2 yards, or you're like, I feel like you're probably not a Super Bowl contender anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm not the one to ask but again, ultimately, I think it's situational. How much time is left? Who do you have? What kind of defense are you going against? What's the likelihood of you getting the ball back fast? Who's on the other sideline as far as coaching, quarterback? A lot of that stuff plays a big role.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I just don't. I think it's like too early in the game to go for that. Like I'm a proponent of like, hey, like if you're, let's say it's like it's 27-27 or it's like 26-27, you could kick the extra point, tie it. You're at home. I don't mind going for 2 and going for the win. Like I like that kind of strategy. But to me, like when you go for it so early, it's like then you have to get it. And it's like those 2-point plays are not easy to get. They're really not. Now, if you're like on the 7 or on the 10 or something, you had more space. Maybe it's more interesting, but especially given the Bills, like what happened to them last year against the Chiefs, like how many times were they stopped short on 4th and inches, 3rd and short, 4th and short? I mean, like to just kind of like want to live in that scenario. I just don't understand that. Like, just take your points. There's
I mean,
plenty of game
I'm
left.
sure a lot of it has to be like I have Josh Allen. He's 6'5".
Yeah,
Like he
right.
should be able to do that. But I agree. Like they're much tougher than the analytics say.
Yeah,
And obviously, I think ultimately that becomes like the reason why a lot of these things happen is people say, analytics say we have a X amount of percent chance to like get 2 yards, but that doesn't count a lot of variables that don't show up on a spreadsheet. So again, it's situational.
yeah,
I think.
yeah. Like I said, it turned out to be the best game of the weekend, and it's kind of cool, like how NBC, like they pay a premium to get that Sunday night game, and then oftentimes it works out for them. And they always have like the best matchup on paper, but when it really delivers, it's like one of those like what a cool moment to kick off the season. So those are 2 of the best teams in the AFC. Like you said, maybe 2 of the best teams in the league. The team that both these teams are trying to get over are your Chiefs. Let's go to that game. That was the Friday night game on YouTube. We had the Chargers knocking off the Chiefs in Brazil, 27-21. Justin Herbert had a good game, 318 on the through the air, 3 touchdowns. What happened to the Chiefs in this game, and what can you take away from it?
What happened is, you want to start on defense or offense? Offense is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy goes out
Yeah.
third play of the game. So the game plan was, heavily tilted around Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, obviously Kelsey, Juju being your possession guy. Worthy goes out and you have to slot Juju up to a number 2, which he's past that. Hollywood is a number 1, which honestly he's never been. I mean, the numbers look good, 10 catches, 100 yards, but 49 of it was on one play. He doesn't, he can't beat every single defense, right? You need the scheme to get Hollywood like open, optimally. So the offense pretty much delved into what it was last year, which was like, Pat be Superman. Like he led the team in rushing, 258 yards through the air. They just don't have a dynamic rushing game. It's just simple and plain. In 2023, it was a bug. 2024, it became kind of glaring, especially after Pacheco goes out. You bring in Kareem Hunt. You don't really have a big play guy. You really didn't have a big play guy with Pacheco there, but with the right space, he can get a head start and he can go north-south for 20 yards. And he hasn't been like that since he's gotten back. He has horrible vision. Josh Simmons got him out on the outside with a clear lane for a touchdown. He decides to go in. It's like all you got to do is follow 71 and you walk into the end zone pretty easily.
Yeah.
So no run game. You lose your best receiver, who's supposed to be your number 2 because your number 1 guy is out for 6 games. I thought the protection was decent. It was solid. But defensively, I thought they came out flat. They allowed, Justin Herbert, they allowed a lot of those receivers to kind of break free every other play. Outside of Chris Jones, no pass rush. The rest of those guys, I think there was one stat that they won on 0% of those pass rushes, which is not optimal. Secondary gave up a lot. Like it was not defensively they weren't good at all. Like they kind of stabilized in the second half, but by that point you're dependent on getting a stop late, which they just simply couldn't do. Chris Jones made an undisciplined play trying to be a hero. The only really good thing that I could take away from that game was Pat. With that said, I'm strangely more optimistic going forward. Like I trust Andy Reid to develop a game plan knowing Xavier Worthy won't be there in week 2. How well they execute, we'll see, but that's essentially what happened. Justin Herbert also had the game of his life.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about him because obviously Herbert is a popular topic online on talk shows.
On this podcast.
He is, I mean, a lot of people think he's, underperformed his career. I mean, he's been in the playoffs a couple of times. He's in a tough division. Let's give him, a little bit of slack with you have to play Mahomes and the Chiefs twice a year. Was this one of his better? Was this his best NFL game, or what do you think? I mean, given the scenario and like the setting,
I think it's his best game. Even there's games where he's thrown for more yards. There's games where he's thrown for more touchdowns, but he looked in control pretty much every possession. Chiefs got to him on a couple blitzes early on, but they were able to stabilize that. And he's working with a new left tackle. They moved Joe Alt over to left tackle, with Rashawn Slater out for the year. And man, he just looked in control. He looked like he belonged on the field with, the best quarterback in the world, and he outplayed him. It took a lot to get for him to outplay him. Took losing a couple receivers and such, but what happened is he outplayed him, and he looked like a elite quarterback, from possession 1 all the way to the end. Made the plays when necessary, took advantage of the secondary, any mistake that the secondary made. That's what we expect elite quarterbacks to do. Now, the challenge for him is you don't have to throw for 300 yards every game, throw for 3 touchdowns every game, but you want to show the same command and control. You want to simultaneously cut down on the mistakes, which he did last year, but also keep those high leverage, elite plays that, you expect the elite player, elite quarterbacks in the league to do. You have to do both at the same time. And so far in his career, he's only been able to master one at a time. So I thought he played excellent. I have no criticisms of Justin Herbert. I'm interested to see how he goes, the rest of the year. Selfishly, I want him to fail the rest of the year, but he played great. I give it, him credit. I give Jim Harbaugh credit. Jim Harbaugh brings it out of guys, man.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it, I'm sure, but I have to apologize to another one of his to another one of his quarterbacks.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about that shortly. That was a surprise for me as well. Shout out to Marcy in the chat. Shout out to M Moves also in the chat. But Marcy says the AI robot who helped me pick my fantasy players and I were not happy where they got knocked out so early. Yeah,
AI robot and me too, brother, sister.
That's a tough one. Kelsey did have a nice touchdown though. That was nice to see.
He did.
Yeah.
He was wide open as he but he outside of that, I saw another stat that showed that he won on less than 5% of pass plays as far as getting separation. Again, not ideal.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Especially with Noah Gray nowhere to be found. So not ideal at all, man.
Yeah. And then obviously it's only week 1, but everyone else in the AFC West won. So the Chiefs are the only 0-1 team. Looking up at the rest of the division, and they've got the Super Bowl rematch with the Eagles on Sunday, but it's at KC. So that'll be the game of the week. I think it's got to be the biggest game for week 2.
Man, the Chiefs have not beat the Eagles since the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl that they played them in.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing, can the defense play better? Can, D-line, can they get any pass rush with 4 guys? And you just paid Karlaftis, so that is the expectation. Obviously, you have Chris Jones, a minute who is a year removed from ACL. They brought back Mike Dana for some reason while getting rid of Pennell, who had a great game in Cincinnati. So I'm looking for, can they do that? Because the secondary is young and they're going to make mistakes. So I don't think that they, especially not this early in the year, they can't be that counted on to lead that defense. So it has to be the D-line. It has to be Bolton and those linebackers who I thought played solid, but not great. And then Pat's going to have to carry a little bit more than he was expected to coming into this year. We were expecting an explosive offense. The offense actually played better in the second half.
Yeah.
They had one of the best, as far as expected points added, per play. In week 1, they just weren't able to punch in that last touchdown after, Mahomes made, that miracle 4th and 7 bomb to Hollywood. But outside of that, they played pretty well. But can they up that another level? That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, I think the challenge of having to face the Eagles next week will be maybe what the Chiefs need, honestly, to really kind of, because I saw a lot of people saying, well, maybe it's it's a hangover. You've been this team that was going for a 3-peat, you lose the Super Bowl, you come back the next year, you're playing in a foreign country, you're playing, it's kind of a glorified exhibition game, but which, by the way, aesthetically, I thought the field and everything looked great. A lot of times when these games are played in London at these soccer stadiums and stuff like that, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look, this looked like a big time event. This looked like the Super Bowl could be at this stadium or something. It was that kind of feel. So I did appreciate the how Brazil kind of handled the aesthetics of the game.
YouTube though, that pregame showed me that I'm 40 years old now. I think they had Mr. Beast or some guy, somebody I was like, what do we do? What is this? I need my buttoned up. I need somebody in a suit. That. My entire life has been a pregame full of suits, man, and I can't. I can't do Mr. Beast and his very creepy white guy smile. I can't do it. I absolutely can't do it.
Yeah, nothing against the non-players out there, but we need a few players. we need some,
Right.
we need some football people at least, the very least, to like kind of guide the way. But
I need somebody with a deep voice. I need.
there you go. Yeah, as Marcy says in the chat, it looked like it could have been a football movie. Yeah, it was like it did look it looked glamorous. I'll put it like that. Kind of a weird description for a football feel, but it did look like it was very bright. I thought the colors very much popped on my screen at least. Um,
Oh,
so we talked about the Eagles. The Eagles kicked off the season the night before against the Cowboys with the spitting incident heard around the world or seen around the world.
right.
Actually, I missed that part because I got up for a second and I came back and I'm like, Jalen Carter's been thrown out of the game. What is going on? They haven't snapped the ball yet. What's your
Me,
take on that?
I think I was walking the dog.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Astros no hitter is over.
Oh,
Springer,
damn.
Springer solo home run. Um, I was walking the dog, and so the NBA has ruined me because the NBA will tell you a game starts at 7:30. It really won't start until like 7:45 or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So I'm walking the dog, and it's literally 2 minutes after the start time, and I walk into the room, cut the game on, and Jalen Carter is walking to like he's walking to the locker room. So I was
Yeah.
confused. But no, I thought he deserved the
Oh, yeah.
ejection.
Yeah.
I think he deserved a suspension. I think if you spit on somebody, I think you deserve to be publicly executed, like just in general. So I saw today that they essentially ruled that because he was ejected essentially for the whole game, that's a
Right.
suspension. All right, cool. I'm not going to argue it, but he definitely deserved the ejection. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. I had some Eagles fans text me, essentially complaining about it, saying like, "Hey, Dak spit towards him." Like, if you look at it from the aerial view, Dak is about 7 yards away from him.
Yeah.
Like, they're not really that close. Like, he
Yeah.
spit as people do on the ground, and he kind of winked and smiled at Jalen. Jalen spit on him, and there we have it. But there's no justification. Like, at no point in life should you ever spit on a person unless you expect to get your ass whooped. Like, that's just a general.
Yeah. And then you see why, one of many reasons why he fell in the draft, because obviously he was the most talented player in that draft.
Hold on, let me let the dog. Hold on.
Okay.
Hey. No.
So that game, we had the Eagles. The Eagles won that game 24-20 to kick it off the season. It was, Tristan, after we got past the spitting thing, it was a really good game for the first half. It was a back and
Yeah.
forth, high scoring. I mean, it was 21-20 at half. Then we had the weather delay, which really kind of ended the game. Just kind of the whole momentum of the whole game ended. And then, the Eagles tacked on a field goal, final score 24-20. What'd you take away from that game? To me, it seemed choppy because of the weather delay. I wonder what would happen if that game had continued in the real time that it was going.
Well, watching that game, I watched about 5 minutes of that game, and I came away with the conclusion that I have one of two pleas to cop today. First one is the Cowboys are not going to finish last in that division. That was foolish.
Yeah.
Watching the Giants will absolutely finish last in that division, probably by a lot.
Yeah.
I on the Eagles side, I mean, they're just better. I didn't even think they played a particularly good game. Sorry, hold on one more time.
Okay. No, but I mean, the Eagles, you're right. It's what Tristan was saying, like it was not their best game. You look at the stats, Saquon Barkley did not have a big night. Jalen Hurts didn't really have a big night, but they did enough in the first half to get the win. And Dallas's offense, they came to play. CeeDee Lamb dropped several passes that might have changed the game, but and Dallas, despite not having a go-to running back, they had a couple of big runs from Miles Sanders and from Javonte Williams. I guess they're going to go by like committee this season until they find someone. But like I said, well played in the first half, and it was like surprising how well Dallas was in there. And I had the same feeling as you. I was like, man, this Cowboys team, they're not going to be the last place team in this division.
I think what we saw is that they're leaning. I mean, they have to. We talked about this
Yeah.
last week. They have to lean into offense.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, I don't think the stats will show it. Matter of fact, I know the stats don't show it. I thought Dak played a pretty great game.
Yeah.
I thought he was, for the most part, excellent. I thought he made a lot of great throws that just weren't completed, like big play throws that should have been absolutely caught. Uh, and I'm not even getting into like the CD Lamb. I'm talking about like he threw the play to the tight end, um, almost in double coverage towards the sideline. That hit his hands. That was a big time throw.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Showed a lot of arm talent. Obviously,
Yep.
the CD Lamb drops at the end were catastrophic, but I thought Dak played great. Like I said, I was saying, I don't even think the Eagles played a particularly good game. I just thought that they took advantage of the Cowboys not being able to take advantage of certain things. But
Yeah.
I walked away from that game thinking that I think the Eagles offense is going to regress just a little bit. I think they're talented enough to like win games, obviously. And Jalen Hurts obviously played a really good game. You just talk about being in control of the offense, making plays, making the plays that are there
Right.
without really having to make too many off schedule plays or like those superhuman, quarterback plays. Like Jalen Hurts does those things at a minimum, but he absolutely consistently makes the plays that he needs to in the moment, which he deserves all the credit for. But on the like Cowboy side, defensively, I thought they obviously couldn't stop much of the run. And they definitely couldn't, beat up the Cowboys offensive line, which has some holes. But I thought the Cowboys offense was humming, for the most part. They moved the ball pretty well.
Yeah.
They just couldn't finish enough drives, and obviously they couldn't get the plays they needed at the end. But I can see Dak having a really, really good year. It's funny now, like as I get older, I don't really hate the Cowboys anymore. Like it's
Yeah.
easier for me to like watch from a bird's eye view and say, hey, like there's some things that they do well, while also still laughing at them at the same time. Like it's a great dichotomy that I have. But I expect Dak to have a big year because they have to have a big year from him
Yeah.
just to get to like 7 games because
Mhm.
they just won't get enough pass rush, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But I thought Dak played excellent. I thought he was one of the better quarterbacks I watched all weekend.
Yeah. No, he was really good. And you're right. I mean, it's pretty much on him. I mean, with
Mm,
the trade of Micah Parsons and like, given just how dysfunctional that franchise usually is with Jerry Jones, the madman in control. It's Dak or bust, and he's got to do everything. So he's got to stay healthy. Also, that's also been the problem for Dak in the
yeah.
past 5 years. So we shall see. So let's wrap up the NFC East with the other matchup from the NFC East, which was not a very good game at all. The Commanders beat the Giants 21-6. Debo Samuel made his debut with the Commanders. He had 7 catches for 77 yards. He also had a rushing touchdown. And on the other side, Russell Wilson looked really bad. Um, what do you take away from this game? Anything?
Um, I don't. There's not much we have to say on the
Yeah,
Commanders. Jaden Daniels had a solid game. I didn't,
yeah,
wasn't spectacular. He had a solid game. We talked about the fact that he can look like a better quarterback without necessarily having the numbers as good, right? And they might not even win as many games as they did last year. But I thought he looked like a guy is supposed to look coming into their second year where you have all the confidence in the world in what your team is doing. There's continuity there, head coach, play calling. You add in a really good weapon in Debo, who you're not really expecting everything from, but who can be a
yeah,
utility guy and kind of make plays for you on the margins. And they did that. I expected them to score a little bit more against that Giants defense. I didn't think like the Giants D line was like wreaking havoc. Like, they probably can. Like potentially they can, but the Commanders offense was good enough.
mhm,
Um, I couldn't watching that game, and I had it on the multi-view, but I was somewhat locked into it, honestly. I could not tell, and maybe both, I think both of these things are true. I could not tell if Russell Wilson looks so washed because he's washed or because that offensive line is like potentially worse than the league. Uh,
mhm.
has worst in the league potential. But for some reason, Brian Daboll kept rolling him out, and he looked so slow trying to get around and trying to get to the edge to make plays that he just simply could not do.
Yeah.
So that tells me it's both. Like Russell Wilson legitimately looked washed. He looked like he may get 2 or 3 more games as a starter, and then they're going to put him out to pasture. Like I thought they should have potentially brought in Jameis. I keep hearing like, hey, when Jackson Dart needs to sit. It's not that easy. Like that line is really bad. I think the answer is not the answer, but like I think they should go to Jameis sometime soon. I think they're going to give Russell Wilson at least another start or two, and that's going to be it. But he did not look comfortable in the pocket. Like he rarely looks comfortable in the pocket, but he didn't look like he felt confident making throws out of the pocket, right? Even when he had a solid, protection. And then he really couldn't do much once he got out, right? So I don't know what the answer is on offense. Malik Neighbors looks like he's going to legitimately murder somebody, pretty soon.
Brian Daboll might be the victim.
But yeah, I came away from that game like, hey man, the Giants with a line that bad, they could potentially be the worst team in the league. And I think they have too much talent on defense for that to like actually happen. But if you can't protect mediocre quarterbacks, then I don't know what the answer is there on how you're supposed to score points on a consistent basis.
Russell Wilson, 17 of 37 for 168. That is that's tough.
It looked worse than that.
Oh no, you're right. It did. I saw the stats afterwards because I didn't watch a lot of this game because it was one of the games I had on different screens. And it was to me, it just was a boring game. I mean, the Commanders, they weren't dominant, but it felt like, for most of the game, it was 14-6. And it felt like that was like a 20-point lead. It's a one score game, but it didn't feel that way. So going from from the current Giants quarterback to a former Giants quarterback who had a surprisingly massive day. Let's talk about Daniel Jones and the Colts. They pulled off maybe the biggest surprise of Sunday with a 33-8 win over the Dolphins. Daniel Jones, they were 7 for 7. Every time they touched the ball, they scored. And he had 272 through the air, a touchdown, and 2 rushing touchdowns. I know it's early. Tristan, I know it's early. It's only week 1. People react. They overreact. But could Daniel Jones be this year's Sam Darnold?
No.
Okay.
Under no circumstances. All he needed to be is competent and better than Anthony Richardson.
Right.
And he showed both of those things. Man, I thought he was decisive.
Yeah.
I thought he made enough of what I saw, and we'll talk about this when we get to Bears Vikings, but like the ability to make like the layup throws is so important because it can sustain you until the big play happens, and they were able to get both. But I think ultimately the Colts' offensive performance says more about the Dolphins. Again, I did not think the Dolphins were a playoff team. With every passing game, I believe less and less in any offense led by Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to extend that to also any offense led by Mike McDaniel. We went into that thinking like, hey, the Colts might be the worst team in the league, and the Dolphins said, hey, boy, hold my beer because it might be them. They were rudderless offensively and defensively. And I don't even think they didn't get to the red zone until I want to say midway through the third quarter.
Yeah.
And that's bad. To say the least, that's very, very, very bad. But I do give Daniel Jones credit. Like I said, just made enough competent plays offensively. And then eventually, they softened the Dolphins up to hit some big ones late. But man, the Dolphins look really, 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 really bad. All around. And Tua, I said in the group chat, man, Tua should never be allowed to scramble. One, obviously, like the concussion risk
Yeah.
is always at play, but his mechanics drop down when he gets out of the pocket. Obviously, he doesn't have a ton of velocity on these throws, so like if he needs to throw across his body, that's a tragedy. I simply don't know, man. I think the Dolphins. Some people I saw some people say this kind of jokingly, but like, man, maybe think about trading for Shadur. Like maybe consider that.
Yeah.
Like you need a quarterback contingency plan like tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's to say nothing about like Tyreek Hill and the vibes in that locker room that
Yeah.
get progressively bad and even worse now that he has more domestic violence allegations. Like, man, that killed my whole trade for Tyreek Hill thing for Kansas City. But the Dolphins, they are taking pole position at last place in the AFC. I don't see a future for them. And I didn't see a future for them last year. But I did think that they were at worst a solid team who, hey, if things break right, they can sneak into a playoffs, get into a wild card, and then lose because it's less than 30 degrees. But like they're nowhere close to that right now.
Yeah. It really shows you how fast things can change in the NFL. Like Mike McDaniel could be the first coach fired, and a couple of years ago he was every hipster's favorite quarterback. I mean, coach, and he was like the next young offensive guru who had all the answers, and now like I'll be surprised if he makes it past week 8. Honestly, maybe week 5.
Man,
Yeah,
if you would have told me they fired him after game 1, I would not have been shocked. It looked that bad.
yeah, yeah. It was not a good look. And by the way, the Dolphins depth at quarterback is Zach Wilson's the backup. Quinn Ewers, the Texas product, is the third string quarterback. So
The Dolphins have a backup quarterback who wears number 0. There's
I
no
know,
way I'm believing in them. There's no way.
I know that's something else with these numbers. Like I'm used to it now with the wide receivers. Everybody wears like number 11 or 10 or whatever. But like, yeah, the quarterback wearing 0. There's got to be some kind of rules, right? Like
That can't happen. I'm not that progressive.
there's a
So
there's a quarterback in college. I can't remember which school. The guy wears 37. I'm not kidding. I was like, that should not be legal. That
you
like
need to have a leather helmet on to wear 37 and play quarterback in a segregated NFL. Like that's like the goalpost needs
yeah.
to be at the front of the the end zone for you to wear 37. Like you need a first name like Sonny or some shit. Otherwise, no, you should not be wearing 37 as a quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of weird stuff out there this season. So going from Zach Wilson's current team to his former team, let's talk about the Steelers Jets game, which was one of the best games of the day on Sunday. Back and forth
Yes.
game. The Jets had control of the game. You had the
Yes.
debut of Justin Fields as their starter. Justin Fields looked great. He looked great in the
Great.
pocket.
He
One
did.
of the best games I've ever seen him play. Aaron Rodgers, it was his revenge game, his return to New York. He had 4 touchdown passes. Really, the difference in the game was a turnover on a kick return by the
Gibson.
by the Jets. That really, Jets are up by 9. Steelers score. Steelers get the ball right back and score, and then they pretty much hold on for the win. What'd you think about this game?
We talk about not overreacting, man, but I was watching it and the Steelers look like a different team with just a competent.
Yeah,
And Russell Wilson was competent last year, and Justin Fields was competent in his time, but consistently competent in like everything, like just being able to make simple
yeah,
5, 6 yard, 7 yard throws, be able to get out of the pocket and get a first down, like very simple things. Um, just starter level quarterback play.
yeah,
I think could have the potential to transform the Steelers. I do expect that defense to be better than it was. I don't think the Jets did anything special to where the Steelers defense should have been that bad, but I chalk it up to week 1. Mike Tomlin usually gets his defense to play better as the season goes on. But if that defense is, let's say, slightly above average, if Aaron Rodgers and big if he can play, he doesn't have to play as well as he did, right? He doesn't need
yeah,
4 touchdowns. Same thing I said about Herbert. he needs, your consistent 1 to 2 touchdowns, 230 to 250 a game.
Yeah.
No dumb turnovers, and just being able to move the ball consistently. They can do that, man. They are a playoff team who has the potential to win a playoff game. But they look good. Again, we're looking at a Jets team, totally new quarterback, new DC, new OC, new head coach. A lot of things are new there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of what Pittsburgh did is sustainable, but that's why we continue to watch. But they looked like, at least for week 1, they looked like a team who got a nice shot in the arm with his quarterback play, and the offense looked more confident. DK, I thought, played well, got a lot of yards after the catch.
Yeah.
Ran over a few guys. We'll see. Like, that's where I'm at as far as Pittsburgh. We'll see.
Yeah.
As far as the Jets go, man, hey, I think if Justin Fields plays anywhere near to the level that he played with on Sunday, that's still not a playoff team, but that's a team who we get to the end of the year who is playing spoiler for some better AFC teams. It's a team you don't necessarily want to face if they have competent play, better play than they got last year at the quarterback position, which is amazing to say considering these two teams just swapped quarterbacks essentially.
Yeah.
But if both of them can play near the level that they play with, it takes both of those teams up slightly a notch.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right about that. And I predicted last week that the Steelers would have a top 5 pick in the draft. I'm going to stick with that for at least a little bit longer. But I do have to give Aaron Rodgers credit. He can still throw a very good slant pass. Like he was flicking those in there, and they were getting 10, 11 yards a pop. And like that's all you got to do. Keep the chains moving. So.
And a lot of those throws that he was making, like, guys were wide open. So I'm not gonna say, like, I didn't see a ton of, and I can't wait to rewatch like all the games, but specifically that one. I didn't see a ton of like tight window throws,
Right.
Unless I miss some. I can, that's what I'm going to be looking for. A lot of guys were wide open, but what I think was his ability to get outside of the pocket and make those throws off, out of the pocket, got guys open because defenses had to react to him moving. Like, he's a threat to pick up a first down, even at 42 or whatever, 41. Yeah. He's a threat to like get you 6-7 yards, on a scramble. So I'm interested to see more of that game and kind of see what could be the ceiling for Aaron Rodgers this year. Like, I don't know if that game alone is going to give me enough evidence, but I do want to kind of see, and like, what was he doing so well, like outside of throwing the guys who were wide the hell open.
Yeah. They didn't get a lot on the ground, so it definitely was they definitely did most of the air. But as far as the Jets side, I mean, yes, they lost the game, but I think if you're a Jets fan, you watch the way Justin Fields played, you got to be at least hopeful for the rest of the season, because at least it seems like he can be a guy. Like, he obviously, his ability, to run around is, he's a great athlete, but also he made some really good throws. And I think, giving him a little bit more time, because in fairness to him, like last few years, he hasn't really played much. Last year with the Steelers, he didn't see the field a ton. And, this might be his last shot to be, at being a legit starter. And looks like he's making the most of it so far. I mean, obviously it's super early, but I thought, like watching all the games Sunday, like he was one of the better quarterbacks I saw. So
if you told me that game ended on an offensive, let's say, mistake, I guess, or somebody falling short, I would have thought it was Justin Fields and not Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
But I thought Justin Fields was, for who he is as a quarterback, I thought he played excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good game. Really fun one. Now let's talk about a game that's wasn't as fun. Texans Rams. That game should have been, I mean, it's a close game. Rams won 14-9 in Los Angeles. Texans offense, just the struggles from last year are now the struggles of this year. Man, they're almost like doing it, it's almost like Sunday was a tribute to the Astros, because both teams struggled to score. And I think maybe the Texans have more problems than the Astros do, which is it's tough to say, where it's so late in the Astros season. But this was not a fun game.
It was not a fun game. I didn't watch much of it, so like I'm gonna count on your.
Okay.
I watched enough to see just a bunch of 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't. I'm not ready to kind of sound an alarm on CJ Stroud. I think a lot of the issues that I'm seeing with them are still offensive line related. They got absolutely nothing on the ground. Like next to nothing, next to zero. Um, and what I do know about CJ Stroud is God. What I know about CJ Stroud, God,
Fuck.
Christian Walker, man.
The,
Good Lord, man. Like he
the
swings at anything.
yeah.
Um, CJ Stroud is dependent on a good running game in
Yeah.
order to be his best self. He's not at that level of quarterback yet to where he can overcome
Yeah.
defense not scoring points and running game not, setting up the play action. Like he's not at that level yet. So they're going to continue to struggle if those things don't improve. Like the defense is going to have to score points. Like you have if not the best secondary in the league, one of the top 3 secondaries in the league, like they're going to have to get takeaways and, flip the field so that the offense does not have to work as hard to score these points, because if they do, they're not going to score a lot of points. Just point blank period. They didn't look good at all, man. I need to know, what did you see? Because I didn't watch that much of this game.
The thing about this game is the Texans. And I think I think we do need to start talking about Stroud in this respect. I don't think he does enough. I think he is too cool with letting the game come to him, and like take what the defense gives you. And I think sometimes you gotta like with this team right now, you've got to do more. Like you just have to. Like I want to see him get out there and move around. Like I don't know how much of if you watch much of the Titans Broncos game. Like again, close game, not the most aesthetic game, but and Cam Ward, number 1 pick, Titans quarterback, he did not have a good game statistically. However, there were a few
Hey,
times he made some would-be plays if some guys
but,
could catch the ball, but he made throws that I wish CJ Stroud would try. Like he threw a bullet to Calvin Ridley, which if Ridley makes that catch at that moment in the game,
mhm.
that they might have won that game. I mean, like, so what I'm saying is I just want to see more out of Stroud. I think he can do more. And I think he's kind of like comfortable, or he's kind of like not comfortable. Maybe he's like kind of like, okay, I know where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be in this pocket. No, I'm supposed to
Right.
like play within the system. And it's like, dude, sometimes you got to be the guy. Like you just like you got to call your own number and make it happen. And I think that's what he has to do. Or this team, I mean, like this team, watching them play, and then you watch like the Bills and Ravens play, they're on a different planet compared to the
Right.
Texans. Like, how are they ever going to beat those teams if they can't like just have a fun drive, you know?
I think it's great what you said about Cam Ward, because the tape on Cam Ward for week 1 is amazing. Like his arm talent was on full display, and he was completely failed by his receivers. And it's kind of like I completely agree on Stroud. The knock on him in college was there's much more athletic ability there than he shows, because he's hesitant maybe to kind of get out of that pocket passer archetype, but like he should use his legs a lot more. That I think that opens up the offense for his guys um a lot more than just kind of this vanilla offense, 5-step drop, nobody got it, check down, whatever. At a certain point, that's just
Yeah,
not going to get it done. Like you said, you're going to have to like up your risk profile
right.
in order to take that next step as an offense and as a quarterback. And he doesn't do it. And I don't think the play calling necessarily encourages him to do it.
Yeah.
So, like, man, like the Texans essentially are in their own way. Offensive line wise, um, did you again, I didn't see a ton of this game. Did you see any improvement over the offensive line? Obviously, getting rid of Laramie Tunsil,
Yeah.
Green from last year. Like, did you see much improvement there? Because I didn't see a ton of.
No, I mean, like, the Rams, they're pretty good defensively. They're pretty solid. I mean, the Texans had chances. I mean, they ran the ball okay, but like they don't have Mixon, so it's like it's kind of hard to kind of like to really gauge that. But I feel like CJ had some time to throw. It's just like I just think, like you were saying, it's like okay, if it's not there right away, I'm going to the check down, and it's like you're
Yeah,
playing too safe and you're playing too cautious and too conservative, and it's like like if you want to be with Mahomes and if you want to be mentioned with Josh Allen and Lamar and those guys and Burrow and these guys, like you got to start doing some of the things they do. Even if you're not as good as those guys, which he's not, by the way, but like you got to try it. Like again, Cam Warren, he tried it. I have a lot of respect for like he was trying to win. He did not look like a rookie quarterback in my mind. Like the stats say something else, but like
yeah.
you're watching that game, like, hey, Bo Nix didn't look that good either. He threw 2 picks and he was a quarterback on a playoff team last year. So like,
Bo Nix looked like he looked like possibly the worst quarterback of week one.
yeah.
Quite possibly.
So
But so I'm just kind of looking at the stats. Like he rushed 5 times for 32 yards. CJ Stroud, I'm talking about.
yeah,
Like, I think that needs to be a little bit more. I think there needs to be a lot more, especially if you're seeing like receivers aren't getting much separation. Anytime the Rams were in man, like that might have been a time for you to take off. You got 60 yards from Nick Chubb. You need more. Like you just simply need more. Outside of that, you get 9 from Agumawale. There's just not enough there, right? In the run game, there's not enough there. Receivers didn't do anything. Like that should have been a CJ Stroud. Okay, it's time to either throw guys open or make some plays with your legs to kind of soften up that those linebackers in that secondary. But ultimately, they were just kind of sitting on everything, just like daring you to make these tight window throws, and he just refused to do it.
yeah. On the other side, Stafford had no trouble finding Puka Nakua. He had a big game. He was like bleeding from his eye for half the game and still like catching every pass thrown his way. So again, I mean, close game. The Texans have a chance. If you saw the end of the game, the best drive, the running back, you mentioned his name a second ago.
Agumawale.
Yeah, he caught a pass, one of the better plays. He got a big gain. Then he got another swing pass, and he got the ball punched out. It was like the most perfect like fumble punch out I've ever seen. It was like I mean, you couldn't have done it any better. By
it's like he aimed. It's like you can see it, and you see like it's a clear aim, like Mike Tyson punch out. Try to fumble.
Yeah, the guy's name was Landman, so I'm sure he'll have a show on Paramount Plus in no time, or he'll make an appearance on season 2 of Landman, maybe.
Do not tell Taylor Sheridan that.
It's like, what is this? There's a guy in California. Landman is his name. Yeah. So tough one for the Texans. We'll see if they can get it. They have the Bucks on Monday Night Football coming up this week. They have a doubleheader on Monday Night Football on week 2, which is those doubleheaders are always kind of weird. You got the Texans hosting the Bucks, and you've got the Chargers going to Vegas to take on the Raiders. So
I think those should be 2 really good games.
No, they could be. Yeah, it's like 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 I don't know. Like I think Monday Night Football should be 1 game. Honestly,
totally agree. Totally agree.
Like it kind of takes away the special. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we're a bit older in this stuff, so I get it. But
my one compromise, I don't mind doing that in week 1. Like if you're gonna do that, do it week 1.
Yeah.
Right. After that, opening week is over.
Yeah.
1 game.
That's fair. Yeah. Let's move on to the NFC North. We had some really interesting NFC North matchups. Let's talk about the Packers taking down the Lions. I don't know if you watched much of this. I did not see a ton. I saw a red zone, and spoiler alert, the Lions were not
snap.
Okay. The Lions were not in the red zone a ton, so I didn't get to see a lot of that game. The Packers really just kind of took it to them. So what's your takeaway from this game?
Week 1, obviously, but the Packers look like the most complete team in the NFC. I did not see an area on that team where they were lacking at all. They didn't run the ball great. That would be my one nitpick. And offensively, they didn't light it up, but like they also never looked like they weren't in control, and they didn't look like they couldn't move the ball if they needed to. Like the drives that they had that was stalled, I don't think it was because the Lions defense was excellent. Like that pass rush wasn't much of anything. Missed some throws here. get short of the sticks here and there, but I felt like they could move the ball if they needed to. Defensively, the secondary was very good, but like they controlled the line of scrimmage on the D line. They completely controlled it. And if they're gonna do that, then they have a great shot to make the Super Bowl. Like I don't have much to add on the Packers. They look really good, really good. Jordan Love looked really good. Took care of the ball. Made the big plays when he needed to. Josh Jacobs played well. Like they look like they had it rolling on both sides of the ball on every phase. For the most part, the run game will get better. They will. They will absolutely run the ball better. That may be their worst running game, or one of the worst running games they'll have all season. On the Detroit side, I don't know how much of this is like Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. Offensively, they didn't really look confident in any type of way. Like they made Jared Goff made some plays here and there, but ultimately they look like they regressed a lot offensively from last year. And they didn't have any of the trick plays to like bail them out. I didn't really see anything special from Detroit.
Yeah.
I do expect them to be better than they looked against Green Bay. Green Bay was really good. Defensively, Detroit won't play many defenses as good as Green Bay all year. So I do expect them to be a solid team. But I say right now, who I think could be second place in that division is up for grabs. Because I don't
definitely.
Stat of the day. Jared Goff has had Sean McVay as a coach and essentially a play caller, and he's had Ben Johnson. Outside, and maybe one more guy that I'm forgetting. Outside of that, he's 0-19 with any play caller outside of Sean McVay, Ben Johnson, and there's one. There may be one guy that I'm forgetting about who's good. I say that to say, Jared Goff is a guy who, if everything around him is working well, he can be an elite quarterback. He can look like an elite quarterback. The second something breaks down in that foundation, he essentially drops down a tier or two as a quarterback.
Yeah.
They cannot survive with him playing the way he played on Sunday. They simply cannot survive. Like their run blocking was not good enough. Penei Sewell was getting dominated in the few times that he matched up against Michael Parsons. That can't be a trend, because that's supposed to be like the meat of their team and like essentially their bread and butter. And they got dominated up front. And if that happens, then they're going to slide to third place at best in the NFC North.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the other game shortly. But the Lions again. I watched Red Zone for this one, even though it was like this was like the big game of the week for CBS. You had Romo and Nance at the game. You had their their whole like pregame team is there. It's supposed to be this huge matchup. And did the Lions have a single explosive play? I don't like. Besides the touchdown at the very end, the garbage touchdown, which was an amazing one-handed falling out of bounds catch. Like, I can't even think of a single highlight that comes to mind that had the Lions doing something positive.
Again, I watched 95% of that game. I missed like the last part because essentially it was over. But I can't remember anything. Like I can't remember anything. I can't remember a big defensive play either. Like that. That was their weakness, especially late in the year last year. If that defense isn't going to be top 10 to 12 to 15, like they're not a playoff team. So I expect them to bounce back, better. They have Chicago next week. So what better way to bounce back?
Yeah, great transition also. Let's talk about the Bears and the Vikings. The other big matchup from the NFC North. It was the Monday Night Football game last night. You had the Vikings winning 27-24 in Chicago with J.J. McCarthy making his first start. He was a rookie last year, but he missed the whole year with an injury. And I got to say, McCarthy looked pretty damn good late in that game. He led 3 scoring drives in the third/fourth quarter to pull off the comeback win. A game that was the Bears kind of had in control for, I don't know, 3/4 of the game. And then at the end, the Vikings took over thanks to McCarthy and some big plays. What's your take on this game?
I owe Kevin O'Connell and company an apology. I can't see them finishing behind Chicago.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about Minnesota because I might go a little bit long on Chicago, but I give JJ McCarthy a ton of credit. He looked like he did not belong on the field in the first half. He looked like a rookie quarterback making his first start on the road against a great defense, except that was not a great defense. The defense played well, but I think most of it was Kevin O'Connell not necessarily wanting to give JJ McCarthy too much in that first half. They played really conservative. He barely looked down the field, in the first half. Third quarter, he throws the pick six. You think like, hey man, this is just one of those disaster games, but he didn't really waver. Came in and had a monster in the third and fourth quarter to come back, take the lead, and then extend the lead at the end with his legs. I don't know how talented JJ McCarthy is. God damn, great catch. I don't know how talented JJ McCarthy is. As long as I've watched JJ McCarthy play quarterback, I thought he's had a low ceiling. I still kind of think he has a low ceiling, but I did see he has improved as far as like throwing a deep ball a little bit. He made, a couple tight window throws. One of them to Justin Jefferson in the end zone. But I don't really care about any of that. What I saw from JJ McCarthy was like mental toughness, like the moxie that you need.
Yeah.
Just the feeling like, hey, I belong. And like, hey, these mistakes that I'm making aren't me. And which is a complete opposite from the quarterback on the other side.
Yes.
Who I worry anytime. I call it, I'm naming this the Framber Valdez theory. Like if you have a great player or a great talent who can be completely undone by any bad thing, like when you can see visibly like, oh, you're starting to lose your composure, that's not a good thing.
No.
Caleb Williams, I've been a fan of Caleb Williams essentially since he was a freshman in college. I've thought he was one of the better generational quarterback prospects that we've seen in decades. At this point, 18 games into his career, I don't think he's good. Like, and I can't make the excuse. Last year, it was absolutely head coach, OC. Like you could watch, offensive line was not as good, not good at all, but definitely nowhere close to what it was expected to be. Hell, even the receiving core, I thought was underwhelming. Obviously Caleb Williams wasn't great last year. I don't even think he was that good, but there was enough flashes to be like, hey, we can't put this all on the rookie quarterback when there's so much dysfunction around him. Structurally with the coaching staff and then talent-wise with his protection and his, the weapons that was supposed to elevate them to a playoff run in year one. We didn't see that. This year, I have no reason to believe that he's good right now. Does not mean that he can't be good. That doesn't mean like he can't be good next week. But like there are certain things that I'm seeing from him. Like the easy plays are hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's struggling like to get off check downs. You know what I mean? Like things that should be like so elementary, he's just not able to do. He missed some throws last night that were egregious. He missed one to DJ Moore.
Oh yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, when 14, forgetting his name, but like he, ran out to the flat. Both defenders essentially go with him. DJ Moore is wide open going to the end zone, and he overthrew him by about 10 yards and high at the same time. Some throws off to the sideline that would just mechanically weren't good. You know what I mean? Like they had no shot of making it. The pre-snap stuff, like you can tell, like he's just not seeing the field. He's about a beat or two late on every throw, even the ones that he completed.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about Caleb Williams because I've seen some flashes, but I've seen a lot of mental things, mechanical things, and like quarterback IQ things that I think that he's just behind on. And at the same time, like he'll make a play with his legs or something like that. It's like, hey man, only a few guys can. Like the throw to Adunze on the sideline. Only a handful of quarterbacks can make that throw.
Yeah.
But for him, he can't rely on making those plays in order to be effective. His job as a quarterback is to be hey, sometimes that 3 to 4 yard pass, and he made some of those, but he made them, like I said, like 2 to 3 seconds too late.
Yeah.
Like those 3 to 4 yards could potentially be 7, 8. So yeah, the Bears have a Caleb Williams problem potentially. I'm going to give him a couple more weeks before I definitively say they have a Caleb Williams problem, but he did not look good. And I should not have come away from that game with more confidence in JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
I should not. I don't care who is calling the plays over there. I don't care who his wide receiver core is. I have more confidence going forward in JJ McCarthy than I do in Caleb Williams. And I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, because with McCarthy, like he was, we talked about last week, he was the weak link, right? Like it's a team that won 14 games last year. They have an awesome defense. They have running backs galore. They have one of the best receivers in football and some other really good receivers. They've got a lot of talent. And so like, I think all three of us thought like, hey, if they're going to have a down year, if they're going to take a step back, it's going to be because the quarterback's just not as good as the quarterback was last year. Yes. And if this kid can play like he did last night, like you said, showing the moxie and just like the competitiveness that you could see in his face, and he probably isn't the greatest thrower of the football, but he made good plays, and that option run at the end was like that had the Bears completely fooled, and it had me fooled too. I was not expecting that, and he scored on that play. So it's like, if he's going to play that well, the Vikings are going to be chasing the Packers for that division. Yeah. The Lions will be fighting them too, I think, but the Bears are going to get left behind. And you're right about Caleb, like that pass to DJ Moore. That was a give me. And if he hits that, they might win that game. Like in that moment, that's a quick touchdown. You're coming up like they just scored. You're scoring a touchdown with that would have been scored with like 2:20 to go. You'd have all this momentum. Then you can stop them. You'll have a timeout. You've got the 2-minute warning. You're going to get the ball back. Who knows what happens? But like that was a huge miss. And then you think about some of the plays he hit, like he had this one where he was running to his left, sprinting to his left, and then throwing back across his body. And it worked, but that's one of those plays where no one really should be able to do that. Yeah. But you're right. The plays that are just like the layups, he just was like bricking them. And it is an issue. And I do think it is interesting that like just a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, the Bears gave his backup Tyson Bagent a 2-year contract extension. That's kind of weird, don't you think so? In current football,
super weird. That's RG3 Kirk Cousins vibes,
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like essentially he's a contingency plan, and apparently like he's very beloved in the locker room.
Yeah.
I'm saying Caleb Williams might have less time than he thinks in order to like get this thing like rolling. But he, like you talk about the layups, like he missed at least a couple up the middle of the field to wide open guys that he threw at 100 miles per hour when like 80 would have done. Like he just doesn't have a great grasp on making every type of just basic quarterback throw. And that worries me, man. Like a guy who's played that much football, you gotta remember, like he's essentially been starting since he was a sophomore in college, and halfway through freshman year, like, he's been starting since he was a freshman. No, did he? No, he didn't start over Spencer Rattler after the Texas.
No,
game.
But
I think he played some.
He did. I mean, obviously he had the breakout game against Texas, and then I think he did take Rattler's job. I think so.
So essentially, you started for 3 years, or at least 2.5. You have a year, NFL under your belt. Like playing this much football, like you should have a better grasp on those things. Like, you can make the spectacular play, but like sometimes a spectacular play isn't available to you, like for a number of plays or possessions. Like sometimes like a game constitutes a bunch of layups, right? In the occasional tight window to get a quick first down. Like it's not going to be all 20 yards plus, these big, super, super big plays. And he just looks lost. Like it's just being in the pocket, he looks uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's wild to me when it's like guys are open. It's like come back, make your progression, throw the ball, and keep it moving. And it just seems like he's just never going to get over that.
Yeah. And it seems like to me, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but like he seems like a guy like you can like you watch him and you can see that he feels pressure.
Yeah.
Not just the pressure of the defense, but he feels the pressure of,
Yeah.
hey, I've got to do this. And like people are gonna talk about me tomorrow if I don't make this play. Like you can kind of see that. Whereas conversely with McCarthy, like, like he seemed like, hey, let's get 5 yards. Let's get, I'm gonna dump it off to my back. I'm gonna hand it off to Jordan Mason, who, by the way, the 49ers could use Jordan Mason. They
Yeah.
could, I mean,
They can use everybody.
they could use everybody because all their
They
guys
can
get hurt
use
all the
you.
time. Yeah. But yeah, just like you can see that Caleb Williams like in his eyes. And again, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it seems like he feels the pressure.
Again, like the check downs. Go
Yeah.
back and look at those check downs. Like he's looking, he looks uncomfortable, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a check down.
Yeah.
Where it's like the check down isn't even a part of his progression. It's just like,
Yeah.
man, I guess and just kind of get rid of it. And like when you look uncomfortable, like throwing a 2-yard check down to the back who's wide open in the flat, like that tells me like something there's an IQ thing there that's lacking,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe he's being coached too much. Like, obviously Ben Johnson is trying to get him to play on schedule because I just think every good quarterback in the history of the game has to play on schedule.
Yeah.
But it's like that is completely antithetical to the way he knows how to play football.
Mhm.
And it can't be that. I get it. You're a big play guy, but like you ain't got to do all that every play. Like
Yeah.
you're okay. Like it's okay. We don't have to do that. And he looks severely uncomfortable. And I don't care about. Yeah, I know you have a new coach, new everything.
Yeah.
It shouldn't look like that. The one thing that you should be comfortable with is just making simple college junior ass throws, and he's not doing that right now.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. The Bears have the Lions next week, so we get the coach, Ben Johnson, the Ben Johnson Bowl to start week 2. That'll be interesting to see that matchup. Is there anything else from week 1 NFL? I know that we didn't touch on every game, but is there anything else you want to mention from the rest of the games?
Man, I'm looking at these scores, and I watched every game. Like I want to
I
make
watched.
that clear.
I mean, Bucks Falcons was very close. Young Wei Koo
Bucks
missed the
Falcons
field
was
goal.
very good.
Yeah.
Like if we wanted to talk about that one, I like Baker Mayfield struggled a little bit first half. Like they really didn't move the ball that well in the first half. But like, man, when they absolutely needed it, like he came with some dime throws. To forgive me if I mess his name up. Let me look this up.
From Ohio State.
Receiver.
Yeah.
But he made some really dime throws, man. I think Baker Mayfield should be like a dark horse MVP candidate. And that Bucks team, I think they're going to, they may lose to the Falcons at home. Outside of that, I don't see them losing in that division. Yeah. Like they have a number 1 seed potential.
Yeah, definitely. And on the Falcons side, Penix Jr. looked pretty good. He played pretty well. Like, they've got a lot of talent, and they're one of those teams where like they've just got to kind of. I think they have to open it up when they start the game and not wait till it's like the fourth quarter because they have so many like really good players that if you just get them the ball and get the hell out of their way, I think they could do something. And Penix obviously can throw the ball very well. 298 through the air, no turnovers. So
I can't wait to rewatch that. I don't know if because at least in the first half, it looked like that Bucks pass rush was getting to him a little bit. Like there was a lot of throws to the flat. He wasn't really looking downfield a ton. So I really want to see, was it something that was happening in the secondary, or these coverage plays that are, forcing him to kind of come off the ball a little bit quicker. But like I totally agree. Like I thought he should have been throwing it downfield, first quarter, first possession, and they didn't really get that rolling until like the second half.
Yeah. But yeah, very, very good finish for that game. Bengals Browns super close. The battle for Ohio, 17-16. Cincinnati got the win.
Hey man.
Ugly game, but a win's a win, right? So
Cincinnati got dominated. I kid you not. They got dominated. The Browns had 276 yards on offense. The Bengals had less than 150, I believe. Like it wasn't even close. Like they got dominated. The only reason they won that game is because a couple interceptions bounced off the hands of some Browns players. Jerry Jeudy dropped some passes here and there. Like the Bengals should not have won that game. You know, obviously the missed kick, they should not have won that game. They got dominated on offense and defense. Joe Burrow was one of the worst quarterbacks that we watched this weekend as well, and that should never, those words should never come out of your mouth. Yeah, man, I'm worried about the Bengals' ability to protect Joe Burrow. I'm really worried. I was worried about it in preseason, but you don't want to, like, you know, trip too much in preseason. It's preseason, but like, man, they cannot protect him, and if they can't protect him, and that offense can't move the ball and score at will like they did last year, especially when they, you know, times when they were down, then this is a bad team.
Yeah,
like it's not hey, great offense, bad defense. You can't really make the playoffs consistently like that. Like, no, they're bad all around.
Yeah.
And some major changes might happen. So I'm interested to see what they look like in week 2. But like, if they cannot protect Joe Burrow, then they are going to be a very bad team.
Yeah. He's their guy. So they got to have him.
Yeah.
Jaguars 26, Panthers 10. This game had a big weather delay.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of action, honestly, from what I saw from red zone. Our guy Bryce Young did not look good, though.
He didn't look good, but I think most of it was on the receivers. Like, though, they dropped a ton of passes. Actually, the advanced stats say that he made a bunch of big time throws that just simply weren't caught. Like, of throws, like with a clean pocket, he was actually one of the better quarterbacks in week 1. His receivers, like Cam Ward, completely failed him. Xavier Leggett should be on special teams. He should be on somebody. He is not a wide receiver that you can depend on in any shape, form, or fashion. Obviously, losing Thielen is going to hurt. Like, they simply have to get him more weapons. Like, I know they drafted a receiver in the first round. They're going to have to get more weapons in there. But I thought Bryce Young did not look close to as bad as the statistics look. I thought that they struggled protecting him as well, and then just a bunch of drops. And then obviously there were some plays he could have made himself, but I didn't think Bryce Young was the problem. I was locked into that game until the rain delay, and then I kind of struggled coming back to it after that. But from what I watched, I didn't think he was the main problem. I thought he was slightly a problem, but his offensive weapons around him, that has to change, or he's going to die.
Yeah, I mean, the trade of Thielen back to Minnesota was really curious because Thielen was like his guy last year, his security blanket. Like, he really had a good rapport with him. So interesting move by the team to do that so late in camp, right before the season started. So we also had the Cardinals got a 20-13 win over the Saints. Kyler Murray had a couple touchdowns. This game, I don't remember much from it except for the Saints, whatever they're wearing. Man, don't wear those jerseys again. Those were rough.
Don't do that again, ever again.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the team is already rough.
Yeah.
I thought, hey, man, I kind of checked out of that game after the first half, but I thought Spencer Rattler looked like a mediocre NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is better than he looked last year.
Yep.
In his spot minutes, spot reps, and definitely better than he looked in college at Oklahoma and South Carolina. The Saints don't have anything. If you know, I don't want to be too optimistic there, but I did think they competed.
Yeah,
they had a chance to, you know, tie that game at the end. I did watch that last drive. Spencer Rattler threw a dime on 3rd and goal that should have been caught, that ultimately got dropped in the end zone, and they just couldn't get a good enough pass on 4th down. But they competed. Like, that's good, because that's going to be like, there's going to be a lot of moral victories in New Orleans this year. Yeah. I'm actually hoping they sell off Alvin Kamara for parts, preferably to the AFC champs. But that team is not going to be good. Either Kamara or Olave. I need one of those guys. Like, Veach get on the phone. Kyler Murray looked okay.
Yeah.
He looked good. He looked good. You know, it's the Saints, so you know, we'll see week 2 and beyond. But the Cardinals look like a solid team. I didn't, you know, not much more than that.
I just give Kyler credit for the fact that he was playing at noon. Like, he's so used to playing that 3:30 window. He's like the king of 3:30.
Yeah.
Here he is playing at noon.
The Cardinals, aka your afternoon nap. That's
Right.
like,
Yeah. They are prominent in the quad box every Saturday afternoon, but not this year. This year they start off in the Octo box, one of the 8 games on noon. Sticking with the NFC West, you had the Niners pulling off a late win, 17-13 over the Seahawks. Niners are banged up. Purdy's hurt. They lost Kittle for probably a month. They cut their kicker, which was, a good move. He missed another easy 27-yard field goal. The hero of the game was their third string tight end, Jake Tonjes, who came up with his only 3 catches of his career, including a late touchdown catch where he literally took the ball away from the defender who had the ball. This was a low scoring game in Seattle, but for San Francisco, they'll take it.
they absolutely would take it, because the way that team plays, like, you can't count on any of those guys being available week to week. Like, Purdy might not play.
Yeah.
Kittle's out for probably 4 weeks with a hamstring.
Yeah.
Juwan Jennings is out. Like, they're already missing an Ayuk. Like, man, they can't afford any more injuries offensively, and they definitely can't afford to lose like a Fred Warner. They lose, if that happens, then they're done for. I don't think the 49ers are a playoff team. Partly because a lot of the guys that they're missing.
Yeah.
I don't know if Purdy is enough to elevate the talent, whoever's around him, whoever that might be on a week-to-week basis. But I do give him credit. He threw an absolute, like, one of those, like, pick-worthy type throws to win that game, but he made it. Like, you give him credit where it's due, but that absolutely should have been picked up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even the guy who caught it thought he thought Purdy was throwing it away.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, win's a win. The final game we haven't talked about at all is the Raiders 20, Patriots 13. Geno had a big day, 362 in the air. This was not one of the best, but what'd you think about this game? What you saw from it?
I thought Geno was dealing his ass off. And I thought that Drake May is somewhere in between Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. I don't know. Okay. I don't know where to place him yet, but he didn't play that well. But Geno Smith was excellent. Like, he was one of the more excellent quarterbacks that we saw this weekend. I have no reason to believe in the Raiders defense at all. I do think a better team than the Patriots is going to gash them pretty much, and they're going to have to depend on Geno Smith to, like, continue to be really good to excellent, to even sniff the playoffs. But he was excellent. Like, that was one of my biggest takeaways from week 1 as a whole. Like, he looked great. Everything else, I don't know. Like, running game, Genty didn't really do much. They really couldn't run the ball. It was simply like, hey, Geno Smith, do something excellent, and that's it.
Yeah, he's got a couple of good young tight ends to throw to. That's always a
Bowers is amazing too.
Quarterback's best friend. So that worked out. I know the Patriots. I know, like, I think there's a lot of hype behind them. I kind of expected them to win the game, honestly. But better quarterback won the game, and again, the Patriots are they're still way down there. They're on their way back up, and it's going to be a long climb from what I can see. So, moving on, really quickly, we'll go to College Corner. Week 2 of college football season, there wasn't much on the menu. South Florida pulled off the biggest upset, beating Florida.
Yeah.
And then kind of the game of the week, I think, was probably Michigan going to Oklahoma on Saturday night. We got to see 2 of the, more heralded quarterbacks in the country. We have Bryce Underwood, the true freshman for Michigan, taking on John Mateer, the transfer from Washington State. Tell you what, Mateer looks good. Like,
he does.
But like I saw that game, they're going to be a problem for Texas. I mean, Oklahoma and Texas, that's usually a very good game anyway. But like
Mhm.
when Oklahoma has a good quarterback, that's usually problems for the University of Texas.
My biggest takeaway from that game was on the other side, and it's more of like a larger thing that I've been seeing. We talked about it last week, but the concept of like defenses catching up to college offenses now, and a pattern that I'm seeing is that there's a lot more defensive coordinators with like NFL experience, um, guys with experience like rattling NFL quarterbacks. So like they're really taking like some of these college quarterbacks to the woodshed, like just showing them things that they don't normally see, like different coverages and stuff like that. Like Venables had Bryce Underwood in prison. Like he never got a chance to like really look comfortable, to like get out of the pocket, make plays, to like make those spectacular plays that he was making last week. Um, it was like a masterclass defensively by Oklahoma, keeping him in check. And I'm just seeing that more. Like there's more guys leaving the NFL, coming to college, and a lot of these quarterbacks are struggling. Like we saw with Arch Manning and Matt Patricia,
Yeah.
Matt Patricia. Um,
There we go.
I just don't. I don't think we're going to see a ton of these 500-yard, 4 touchdown games like anymore. Like I think there's a new standard for like what a really good quarterback, or at least what good quarterback numbers are looking like. And we're seeing that in the NFL. Like,
Yeah.
Shit, Joe Burrow threw for 135 yards last week,
Yeah.
So I do think we're seeing that like maybe there's just a higher bar to reach to be considered a great quarterback, as we go forward, because defenses, as they tend to do, like are catching up to offenses now.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you said with quarterback play, both in college and the pro, I feel like you kind of have to have a little bit of both. You can't just be like the days of like just a 400-yard like gunslinger. That's kind of over. Like you got to kind of be able get some yards on the ground, you know, take what the defense is going to give you. But, there are moments where you have to make a big play with your feet or whatever, like it's more of a mixture. It's not
Yeah.
just like, the days of like Dan Marino standing back there just rifling the ball down the field. I mean, if there was a Dan Marino, maybe they could still do that, but that's just not the way the game is played anymore. So, yeah, all in all, though, college was pretty weak weekend last weekend. There wasn't a whole lot happening.
I did not watch. I watched Michigan, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I watched man, that might be it. Like I
yeah.
watched pieces of other games, but like this was not a week to sit and binge college football.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it this week.
Thanks to Brittany in the chat for pointing out. I brought Marino, and she says, "Laces out, Dan," from Ace Ventura.
Ace
Classic.
Ventura.
Yeah, classic moment in that film. So many in that movie. Um, Sirens are on my end, by the way. Is there anything else you want to get to before we get out of here? If anything from pro or college game or so what you're looking forward to this weekend?
I'm looking forward to see, obviously, if the Chiefs can bounce back. I'm looking forward to seeing I think this Thursday night game is going to be really good.
Yeah.
We got Commanders, Packers,
Yep.
Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love. That's one of the my most anticipated games this week.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a really good one. Like you said, the Super Bowl rematch of Super Bowl 59, that one's being played at KC, 325 on Fox on Sunday. Falcons Vikings is kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to that one. That's a Sunday night game. Again, the Texans are hosting the Bucks. That could be, Texans could be staring at an 0-2 start. Yeah, there's some good stuff this weekend. Even Bills Jets, like that's kind of interesting given how competitive the Jets were last weekend. The Bills are coming off this high. You're going to
Yeah.
New York. Like I can see the Jets winning that game. I don't think it's crazy.
I can see them winning it.
Yeah.
They got to keep it. If they can keep it close, anything can happen. Is that if the Jets defense is like it was, against Pittsburgh, then that's a wrap. But I do think that Jets defense will be better. I can't see Aaron Glenn giving up 40 some points, 30 some points in back-to-back weeks. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that that's going to be a much more competitive game than we've seen from those two teams in past years.
Yeah, should be fun. We're gonna programming note. We're gonna come back in about a month, so we'll be coming back after week 5. So we'll hopefully we'll know. We'll kind of maybe by week 5 we'll see who are the real contenders maybe that are starting to emerge. We'll see who are the teams that are gonna. Wonder how many coaches will have lost their job at week 5. We'll have to find out our next episode. So that about there we go. What if Mike McDaniel joins us by week 5? That would be awesome. Like, I would extend the invite if that's out there. So
hey man,
we'll see what happens.
Seems like a great guess.
I mean, funny guy. So you never know. So that about does it for the show this week. Want to say, hey, now you know what we thought about week 1 of the NFL season. We want to know what you thought about it. The best way to let us know is by joining us in the live chat, just like Brittany did, Yesenia. We got, of course, Marcy joined us, M Moves. We appreciate everybody joining us in the live chat. Or if you join us later in the comments section on YouTube, that's also appreciated. And, we're not only just on YouTube, we're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you listen to us those platforms, be sure to give us a 5-star review. We appreciate that very much. You can also find us on social media. We're everywhere at Watchers Basement. So give us a follow. We'd appreciate it. So as we wrap up, just want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.